Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me this evening in Johannesburg. My name is Solomon Izang Ashoms. It's great to be with you. And I hope you had a great weekend. In South Africa, it was a very, very long weekend. So I think in the UK, you call it the bank holiday or so, when the weekend is longer. I don't know what you call it in the US and also maybe in other places, but here we had the Human Rights Day. Every year in South Africa, we have the Human Rights Day, and it's a public holiday here. And if you know the history of South Africa, human rights is an issue that that has been a big topic right from the days of the racial segregation and everything. So it is important. Still there are a lot of people who are fighting for their human rights. Black people, especially, are fighting for their rights. And there's a lot of injustice, not just in South Africa, but across the world. Racial injustices, social injustices, economical injustices, like in countries like Nigeria, where I come from, and other countries like Sierra Leone, Liberia, and all those kind of places, outside of Africa. So we had with a weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then today is also a public holiday. So my family and I, excuse me, actually, let me do this. Because my laptop is probably going to go up. So my family and I took time out. If you look at some of my Facebook page rather, you would see that we had excuse me. Sorry about that. My son was coming in. So we had a time out. We went out into the safari and into the wild and all that kind of stuff, just to have some holiday, which we really did enjoy. But it's good to be with you wherever you are. I see people are commenting already. Yes, Eswatini. M Shade said it's from Eswatini. So Eswatini is for you guys who are not around Southern Africa. They used to be Swaziland, so that's the new name. And they actually have one of their own princess who got married to the king of Zulu, who now became a queen. She is the ruler of the Zulu kingdom now for a short time before a king is named, which is going to be soon. So great to hear you from Eswatini. You have Jonita from all the way from Nebraska in the USA. Thank you, Emerald from Lusaka. I see you. I see you guys. I see you guys. I see Cape Town is also in the house. Thank you so much. Rod Lane Mpo from Nelspruit. I see you. I got one here all the way from Paris. Bonjour. Bonjour, Sebastien. Bonjour. All the way from and then I have Yvonne here. She's crying for me. She said crying for you from the USA. Don't cry. Don't cry. You see, the will of God is not the will of man. And whatever we do, we count the cost. We must never, ever think because we are Christians, we're not going to be persecuted. We're not going to feel difficult. We're not going to, face difficulties. We're not going to be, abused. That's not what Christianity is all about. But in all of it, we're going to go through all of that. But in all of it, God will be with us. And you know what the greatest part of it is? His name shall be glorified. That's the greatest part of it. And that's what I love about scripture. I don't know about you, but when I read scripture, I don't see people that lived a comfortable life. When I look at the life of Jesus, the life of Paul, I don't see people that live a comfortable life, challenge-free, persecution-free, difficulties-free. No, I don't see that kind of people, right? I'm not saying we should go look for trouble or that kind of thing. No, We keep speaking our truth. Because there's no way you live in a sinful world where we have broken people in the church, broken leaders, abusing charlatans, abusing the scriptures and everything. And there's no way you're going to stand on truth and you're going to feel like people, some of these people are not going to persecute you. Some of them are not going to try to silence you. But you can't silence me. The only way you can silence me is when I die, when you kill me. Now, when you kill me, I know the seeds that I have planted already. So killing me in the flesh is not going to kill the truth. There's going to be some of you guys watching now that are going to take on this truth and go fight with it and go spread it out. That's what it's all about. So we must, in the course of this time for me, you guys all know that I've been in court with Alph Lukau. Some of you guys know Alph Lukau here locally. Some of you guys don't know him. If you just Google Alph Lukau, A-L-P-H, that's his first name, like Alfred, and his surname is L-U-K-A-U. Google it, and you're going to see the first thing that's going to come up. You're going to have stories about a so-called resurrection of a guy who was brought to the church in a coffin, which became scandalous. It became global news. And he was involved in that resurrection. So even before the so-called resurrection from 2017, I've been having issues with him. People came to me and told me a lot of stuff, allegations against him, that involves different things, from some of them saying, and these are allegations because, it was never really proven in court because of a lot of reasons. And a lot of them told me a whole lot of stuff that are just so, for a so-called man of God, you don't expect that. Anyway, I don't consider him a man of God. Alph Lukau is not a man of God. No, he's not a man of God. He's an abuser of scriptures. Simple. He's an abuser of the Bible. Simple. He might think he has a big church. It's powerful, used to be connected politically and all that kind of stuff. All that don't afraid me. I don't look at the size of my opponent. I look at the size of my God. That's what I do. So from 2017, we went to, we took me to court, and we had to come back, and then they had to write an apology. They said we should write an apology. We wrote an apology. They didn't want to accept that. They didn't want us to write the apology anyway, because to settle, and they wrote the apology and issued it, that's what happened. And then I was told that I should not defame him wrongly. Now, that's going to be it was very difficult for me not to say something. It didn't say I shouldn't talk about him, but I shouldn't defame him wrongly. Now, it's going to be very difficult for me not to talk about someone like Alph Lukau, who has been abusing the scriptures. It's going to be extremely difficult for me, whatever the price that I would have to pay. Of course, I'm not going to defame him, and just say, look, I'm going to defame him and call him names and all. No. But sometimes in 2019, he had a birthday, and he posted it on social media. He was given a Rolls Royce and a penthouse suit worth millions of rand. Now, for somebody whose congregation is predominantly lower class, and people that are struggling, trying to pay their rent and all that kind of stuff, I found it extremely distasteful for a so-called man of God to accept that, because my belief is you help people. You claim you are a millionaire already, You have businesses that is worth millions. You know, you don't need another Rolls Royce. You don't need another penthouse suit. That's my kind of Christianity. I'm not the kind of Christianity where you just accumulate and accumulate and accumulate and hoard things. That's not scripture. So we now posted, scriptures saying that you who is poor, if you keep giving to the rich, you will remain poor, and a whole lot of stuff. And somebody wrote Alph Lukau says false prophet. Then I liked it. And so they monitor my stuff. They're watching this now. They monitor all my stuff. And they now took me to court. Again, they said, no, we had an agreement that I was not going to defame him, but now I defamed him. So this is contempt of court, because we agreed in court that I was not going to defame him. So we had to go back to court, and I spent my family's money, over 100,000 rand. Remember, I started this whole thing over 10 years ago. A lot of you guys are here. You don't know when I came on board. You only knew me this year or last year or 2 years ago. You were late. I didn't just pick on this because I was looking for something to do. No. So we now went back to court. I had to get money and advocate, and it's a high court, which is pretty expensive. It's not it's not the magistrate court. You have to get an advocate. You don't take an attorney. You take an advocate. And every time an advocate appears for a day, you pay quite a lot of money. Obviously, he knew the high court is the best bet for him because he felt maybe he's going to get justice there. And also that way I'm going to be suffocated financially because I don't have anybody paying me. I don't have any financial person backing me up. I do not have an agenda against any individual. My agenda is the truth. Wherever I see a situation where truth is abused, I speak out. That's what I do. That's what God has put in my hand. I'm a trained journalist. Check it out. Somebody was actually telling me today, I was talking about football. I posted something about it, and he was like, no, I shouldn't talk about football. I should just concentrate on charlatans. But I told him, look, do you know I've been to 3 soccer World Cups? Germany in 2006, South Africa in 2010, Brazil in 2014. All this, I didn't go there as a spectator. I went there as an accredited media person. So now you're telling me to shut up on football and talk about charlatans. And again, it's because you don't know me. You do not know my history. You don't know where I'm coming from. So we now went to court, and then the judge now ruled, obviously, to cut the wrong story short, the judge now ruled that I defamed him indirectly by virtue of the fact that I liked that post that said he's a false prophet and a few other things. So I defamed him indirectly. So he sentenced me to prison for 20 days, suspended for 2 years. So you're sentenced to prison for 20 days rather. So for the 20 days, you're not going to go to prison because you're suspended for 2 years. So within the 2 years, the 24 months, if you defamed him again, then you're going to go to prison. So about 16 months into the 24 months, that was when the whole resurrection thing happened that became scandalous. That actually a lot of people started looking at him. It's like, look, hey, this guy don't seem to be a true man of God at all. On a Sunday, an ambulance with a coffin. You guys should check it out. You guys should please Google it as we speak, because I don't want you to just carry what I'm saying. But if you don't know Alph Lukau, if you don't know about that resurrection drama, Google it. So they now took the guy who's in the coffin to the church, and he was allegedly resurrected. And some people are saying, no, he didn't resurrect. No, he didn't resurrect, and we resurrected him, and all that kind of stuff. And the guy just disappeared actually afterwards. So it became a huge scandal, huge scandal. Actually, that was the beginning of the downfall of Alph Lukau in South Africa. I had people around that period, they actually started telling me, Solomon, you've been talking about Alph Lukau for years. but we didn't agree with you, but now we see. We see. He's Congolese, by the way. So during that period, I now made some comments, not directly at him and not defaming him to the best of my knowledge. I reposted some of the stuff that had happened before. I think 1 or 2 places or so. And then, I don't know, I didn't even repost stuff that is important, that is really defamatory or whatever, but at the end of it, he took me to court again. So he's been taking me to court for 3 years now. This is like, it's going to be 4 years, actually. This next month is actually, no, this month actually, I think is 4 years. It's 4 years. And then we've been dragging, and then there was some, if you remember, I paid him about 44,000 Rand because the attorney that I had was helping me pro bono, and there was some discrepancies in some of the submission that was submitted at court. And then they now claim we have to pay them. So obviously, I didn't know, didn't get any communication from them and all that to go and argue it. And the judge made the decision we have to pay them. So we paid them. But we went to court about 3-4 weeks ago, argue it. He's saying, he took me to court now, finally saying, I defamed him during this period through some of my social media posts. And he's saying that I have to go to prison for 20 days for contempt of court. So this is a civil matter. This is not a criminal issue. This is a civil matter. So you get to know the difference. Some people are asking, how do you go to prison for that kind of stuff? People ask for money. He didn't ask for money. He wants me to go to prison. So there's always going to be an option of maybe you want to be, you want to be paid. So no. He wants me to go to prison. It's as simple as that. He wants me to go to prison. It's as simple as that. So now we have that sort of situation, and that is where we are. And then last Friday, we received the judgment. And even before receiving the judgment, you see, for me, I'm a realist. I'm not the kind of person that if God says this is what is going to happen, God spoke clearly. I know if God says, Solomon, you're going to go to jail, clearly, I know I'm going to go to jail. So my prayer would not be, Lord, don't take me to jail. If God says you're not going to go to jail, I know I'm not going to go to jail. So my prayer wouldn't be, Lord, take me to jail. No. Realist. Some of us have been, I've been so brainwashed by all this charismatic and Pentecostal way of praying or believing God forever. Say, no, how can God allow you to go to prison? Yeah, of course. Jesus himself went to prison. Was he guilty? No. Paul went to prison. Was he guilty? No. Silas went to prison. Was he guilty? No. But you see, I'm not going to be quiet. I told somebody today, I may go to prison for the rest of my life, I may go to prison 10 times, but I'm not going to be quiet whilst I watch pastors, prophets, apostles, and bishops abuse scripture. Me? Even if it's going to cost me my life. You don't understand this. Our spiritual levels are different. And don't tell me you don't know when God called me. You don't know what God told me. You don't know about my life. You only see me on social media. And this is not enough for you to think you know me, And you would think this is something that, so let me just actually put this on, like I said earlier on. So yes, I'm going to prison. I've spoken to my mentors, spoken to my wife way before now and say, look, here are 2 options. I may go to prison, I may not go to prison. So let's prepare for both. That's just the reality of it. And going to prison is not going to be an entirely new thing for me. If you notice over here, I have a scar. I got this scar in prison, not because I was sentenced to prison. No, I was there. I used to do a lot of prison ministries. So we used to play football and do football stuff just to kind of like disciple and evangelize prisoners in Krugersdorp prison. And this was where I was a goalkeeper when we were playing a game with them. And one of the prisoners was jumping over me and he hit me with his knee. I got about 5 stitches there. And we used to do a lot of discipleship training also in prison. We go there, we spend from morning till afternoon. We used to do a whole lot with the correctional services, prison wardens, We used to go in the morning and share scriptures with them, sync with them, and all that kind of stuff, So guys, prison is, it's not like you're going to, it's not like they're going to kill you there or something, or they're going to abuse you or beat you up. No, guys, please. All the stuff you heard and seen, except you've never been except you've been to prison, you wouldn't know how prison is. Everything that you would hear, only a little bit of it is the truth. So we came to a conclusion, whatever the judgment is, I'm ready for it to go to prison. I'm ready not to go to prison. So the judgment came on Friday and it says, I've been found guilty. So I'm going to prison for 20 days. When would I be going to prison? I don't know. My attorney is trying to find out because in the judgment, they didn't tell us. Normally they tell you like maybe you have 24 hours or 48 hours to get ready and then go and hand yourself over at the correctional services or at the police to take you there. But I've not gotten that yet. So maybe this week we're going to get that. And then we're going to know. And then you're also supposed to be told the prison that you're going to be spending that time at, but we still don't know the prison. So in overall of it, I had 2 counts of contempt of court. The first one, which I was sentenced, the suspended sentence for 20 days, and then this one. Guys, I'm not going to keep quiet. Please do not feel pity for me. Just pray for me to keep standing on the truth. Do not feel pity for my family. No, guys. No, guys. We're Christians. These are the kind of things that we should expect. Let me tell you, let me share this with you. This is what Paul said in 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 11 and 12. This is verse 12. He said, indeed, all who desire to live a godly life in Jesus Christ will be persecuted. All who desire to live a godly life in Jesus Christ will be persecuted. In the nutshell, if you're not being persecuted, you're not living a godly life. It's a simple arithmetic, isn't it? Because when you live in a godly life, you're going to come face to face with a lot of ungodliness. And we live in a world like this that is imperfect. There's a lot of ungodliness. Even in the church, with so-called men of God, leaders, there's a lot of ungodliness. When you speak and stand on the truth, you will be persecuted. You will be persecuted. I knew I was going to go to prison 10 years ago when I had a conversation with God. I said, Solomon, are you ready to die for the truth? I was shivering. That's why I said, you see, you don't know my story. My journey is different from your journey, and it's fine. And I'm not going to tell you that your journey should be like this. No. Are you sure that it's your journey with God? Are you sure that's what God said? Fine, go ahead with it. But for me, my journey is I'm not going to stand aside and watch people abuse scriptures, using scriptures to abuse people, using scriptures, leaders using scriptures to manipulate people. I'm not going to stand aside and watch that, whatever it's going to cost me. It has cost me a lot already. It's cost me so much money that I have to come here and ask some of you guys for money because I've run out of money for that issue. I have a family to take care of. So I'm not going to take You want me to take my kids' school fees, my family's money for feeding and everything and put it in there? I don't think that's the right thing. And people challenge me, look, we believe in what you're doing. Put it out there. We would support you. And I've gotten a lot of financial support, from people here locally, and especially from people, in the US, in the UK, in Saudi Arabia, people you've never met and people that you don't know, but they just believe so much in the truth that you're standing. That's why you see my going to prison is not about Solomon. It's about you and I that are standing for the truth and believe in the truth. So let's not make this about Solomon. Let's not make this about Solomon, because it's the integrity of the gospel. They want to silence me. It's like people do not know me. Hey, if you know the kind of fire I carry and you think you're going to silence me by going to court and then by going to prison, to be honest, you're just going to waste your time, because you're only going to make me speak out more and more, because I know what God told me. I don't have an agenda against any individual. Against any individual. I do not. Why should I have an agenda? What am I going to gain from it? So when we see persecution, we know what God is saying. We know where we're headed to. So yes, I'm going to prison. And I'm going to share with you the last part of the judgment given by Judge Dippener and the High Court here in Johannesburg. I'm going to share that with you. This is the last part of the judgment and the order that the grant. So she said, I grant the following order. The respondent, that is me, is declared to be in breach of the conditions imposed for the suspension of his committal to prison in terms of the order granted by Mabisela J., that's the judge, on the 17th of November 2017. I told you, we've been on this for a long time. In that he has published further wrongful and or defamatory allegations, comments, or remarks against the applicant, which is Alph Lukau, during the suspension order. That is during the 2-year suspension order, consisting of a republication of previous wrongful and or defamatory statements and the publication of further wrongful or defamatory statements in contempt of the order granted on 2nd May 2017 by Victor J. Right? So I want you to look at this carefully. This is just basically what she's ordering. This is what she found out, the judge, based on her own interpretation. This is what she found out, that I've either wrongfully, I published stuff that is wrongful or defamatory against the applicant, who is Alph Lukau, Alph Resurrection Lukau, So that was what she found out. That was her conclusion. So based on her conclusion, she now said, this is what's going to happen. The respondent, that is myself, is committed to prison for a period of 20 days. That's one. I have to go to prison for 20 days. And then finally, she said, the respondent is directed to pay the cost of the applicant. So now I have to pay for his legal cost, for his attorneys. And that's going to be another added money that I would need to add to my own legal cost. E.F. Dippener, Judge of the High Court, Johannesburg. You see a signature there. So look at that carefully. The respondent is committed to prison for a period of 20 days. And because she has found me guilty, I have to pay the respondent. I've been directed to pay the cost of the application, the cost of the respondent's application. So I have to pay his legal cost. So look at it very well, just so you know, just so you don't ask me again, just so if you talk about it, you know exactly what it is, right? So that's what has been going on. So I'm going to go to prison for 20 days. Can I appeal? Yes, I can appeal, but I don't have the money to appeal. That's going to be another added money, and I have legal cost. And I feel okay going to prison. I have appealed the first one. I appealed it, but they said no, I had no chance of any success, so they left it there. Now I don't want us to think, for me, in everything, I just want to see the will of God, whether it's in my favor or not in my favor, a case in my favor or not in my favor. The will of God is there, and what we got, I know. If I was getting money from people to attack men of God, or to, some people say, destroy Christianity, how do you even imagine that somebody can destroy Christianity? Is that how small you think Christianity is? To destroy the church? You think the church is so small that one small Solomon can even destroy that? Come on, guys. The church has been on for centuries. Centuries. There are great people, greater than me, in power and influence, that try to destroy the church, but they never had a chance. And now you think someone like me, because I expose your charlatan pastors and prophets, you think I'm against the church. I expose people that you think are righteous people, but they are very unrighteous, but you don't know. In your ignorant, you think I want to destroy the church. I wouldn't have a chance. I will not even try it. Even if I'm evil, I will not even try it, because, come on. So that is where we are now. I would love for you, first, let's even begin with the immediate one, just so we can get that over with, to help support the legal cost that I have to pay, mine and his. I will need what? I think about $6,000-7,000 to do that. But that's just the way that it is. Do I have the money? I don't have the money. I have to believe God for the money. Again, like I said, it's not my fight. So this is my account number if you're local and if you want to support this. And you must never feel, like I said, you must never feel like sorry for me, or you should actually jubilate that in the name of the truth, Jesus, I'm going to prison against somebody who I know abuses scriptures. I don't have to defend myself against myself and Alph Lukau. I don't need to defend my integrity. When you put me side by side with Alph Lukau, no, I do not need to. If you just mention that resurrection drama, you know the kind of integrity he has. It's as simple as that. So please go ahead and support with little, much that you can do. 100 Rand, 200 Rand, 500, 1,000, whatever you can donate locally. This is the account number. Just so whilst I'm in prison, or before I go to prison, I know that, I have some money to pay the legal fees. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm going to go to prison and I'm going to be redundant. I'm not going to be able to be there to try to fundraise, money. And I've been doing this for over 10 years, and I've never asked, come and ask people for money until last month. Because it was God telling me, no, Solomon, I don't even want you to begin to go hustle. I'm the kind of person that want to hustle, but, quietly, privately, and do all that. And a lot of stuff that I do that I'm not going to say it here. A lot of stuff that I hustle to do it for the ministry, for the gospel, that I'm not going to say it here. And if you are overseas And if you want to use PayPal, please check, you can do that through my PayPal account, solomontalks@yahoo.com. solomontalks@yahoo.com. A $10, a $20, a $50, $100. I've had people there's somebody that actually sent me $500 last time, about 4 weeks ago or so, which had helped greatly. But if this is what he wants, me to go to prison and pay his legal fee, that's what, through the court wants, because that's what he wants, obviously. That's why he took to court. So I'm going to go to prison. So let's pay his legal fee. And then what? And then he thinks I'm gonna be quiet. It's like, this guy, you have no idea. Lukau has no idea. And by the way, when I go to prison, I'm gonna release 2 videos that I'd never released, with evidences of audios and videos. Whilst I'm in prison, I'm gonna put it on YouTube, on my YouTube channel. I'm gonna premiere it. And it's gonna play. I'm going to reveal to you how my family was harassed using a police station by Alph Lukau's bodyguard. I'm going to release to you an audio conversation with 3 gun-carrying men, his bodyguard inclusive, who used the police station to lure my wife, and I had to follow her. They didn't know I was following her. And then we went in, and they were trying to intimidate my wife. I'll play that. You listen to it and you draw your conclusion. And I'm going to release a video of an interview I had with a doctor. This doctor, her letterhead was used, and with information saying a certain girl was HIV negative. And it was used at Alph Lukau's church, and it was shown on TV. If you remember, Cutting Edge did the expose on that. And we saw the letterhead, and we took a screenshot. We went to look for the doctor. And the doctor doesn't even, this girl now took that, and she said, no, she was HIV positive, and she was prayed for, whatever, and then she became HIV negative. We now went to look for the doctor, and we discovered the doctor. And we discovered the doctor is actually doesn't deal with HIV issues. She's a pediatrician. She deals with kids. I have all these things are stuff I collected the last 3-4 years. I'm going to release them. You be the judge. When somebody like this, who is associated with this, he's associated with his bodyguard. Obviously, that's his chief bodyguard. He's associated with him showing this information in church. Didn't they verify it? Didn't he know? You be the judge. I'm going to release it whilst I'm in prison. That's why I said, with Alph Lukau, I don't need to defend myself. We know who he is. We know who he is. It's simple. Let me check out some of the posts. I'm sure some of his people are going to be here. Yeah, there's quite a lot of comments here, so I'm not even going to be able to. Okay, somebody mentioned here, why was Cutting Edge not taken to court? Why would Cutting Edge be taken to court? Cutting Edge got an information. They interviewed the people who were paid, who said they were paid to come and act certain part in church, saying that they are sick, and then they got healed and all that. Why should he can't take them to court? He can take them to BCCSA, but obviously Cutting Edge never came out to say, well, we're sorry, the information we gave you was false. Because it wasn't false, isn't it? If it was false, they're going to do that and say that. I don't remember anywhere where they said it wasn't false. It wasn't, it was false. So it's very simple. For you, those of you guys who are watching internationally, Cutting Edge is it's an investigative program on SABC TV here in South Africa. So they've investigated some of the healings at Alph Lukau's church, and some people who came to them saying they were paid. You know, you can check it out online. And actually, I was actually going to put that here for you, but you can check it out online and you could see. So, I mean, if we're dealing with somebody like that who's been associated with many of these things, why should I even try to defend my integrity next to somebody like that? No, it's clear. It's clear. I do not need to defend my integrity against people like the Mumboro and all the other people. I don't need to defend my integrity. God will defend that for me, but I'm not going to stop doing what I'm doing. It's as simple as that. So, guys, I will really appreciate your help. I know you can help. So please go ahead and help and make donations on PayPal. Like I said, it's solomontalks@yahoo.com. Whatever you feel you can help. However you feel you can help. I would appreciate it. If you're looking for worthy cause to help and support, this is it. Like, I'm not using your money on me. I'm not that kind of person. I think I have at least enough for myself and my family. If I had no case like this that needs money, I'm not going to come here and ask you for money. I've never done that before. So let's silence them by one, paying all the legal cost, because I know them. If we don't pay the legal cost, they will come, they will try to come to my house and try to take my properties and all that. They tried it before. They're aggressive because that's how ruthless they are. And secondly, let's silence them. I'm going to go to prison for 20 days and I'm going to come out. And when I come out, my first tweet, my first post on Facebook would be Alph Lukau, abuser of scriptures. Simple. That's what it is. His teachings are not biblical. His doctrines and theology on giving, on healing, not biblical at all. So if you are international, please, if you want to help, I know you can help. Go ahead and do that. If you are local, you can do that also via this account number. When I called my attorney, I actually told her, look, after the judgment came out, I said, look, if I need to go to prison tomorrow, I'm ready. So mentally, I'm ready. That's how ready I am, to be privileged to be there, incarcerated with people who have done so many wrongs. I mean, if I tell them why I'm actually in there, I think they're just going to laugh at me. It's like, no, it's how you did. Do you know what I did? Because like I said, we've done a lot of, discipleship schools and training in prisons. So I've met people who have killed so many people who have robbed. I've met people who have, who are really evil. Some of them are in the maximum, when they put you in the maximum part of the prison, the correctional services, based on your crime. That's where you belong. So it's a privilege for me, Solomon Izang Ashoms, to stand for truth. It will be a privilege for me to go to prison. And I'm not joking. It's a privilege. It's a privilege. It's a privilege to serve God that way because I know who I am. I know I don't have an agenda. I know that truth is going to cost you something. So we need to stand together. So I want to thank you so much for, I just said to give this update. I gave an update a little bit on Friday, but I didn't go into this a bit deeper. But this is where I am. Some people, think, like I said, I'll go to prison and come back and keep quiet, or this is teaching me a lesson. You can't teach. This is a privilege. You don't understand. This is a privilege. This is a privilege to go through this in the name of Christ, in the name of standing for the truth. What better blessing is there? I can do this 10 times. That's who I am. That's who I am. I'm not a coward. I'm not a hypocrite. I'm not afraid of what they would throw at me. Because I know who I serve. I know the conviction. I know when I had conversations with the Holy Spirit, with God, I knew what the conversation was all about. I didn't start this yesterday. For those of you guys who think some people will come, he's looking for fame, he wants to be famous, he's looking for money. If I want to be famous, I wouldn't be here at all. I was a radio presenter for a long time. I wouldn't be here. I ran a Christian magazine for about 8 years that I started. I would look, there are places where I could be famous. I would be managing artists everywhere because I know artists that are looking for me to manage them. I would be there. This famous, this is a very unpopular thing to do. How many people would do that? Or how many people are doing it? And don't tell me, well, I shouldn't be aggressive on them. I should be this. No, you don't know what God told me. So you should first ask me, Solomon, how did God tell you to approach these things? Then I will tell you. But for you to say, oh, well, I'm aggressive for them, or I'm this, or I'm that, you don't know. Who said your method is the right one? Who said my method is the right one? But I'm just doing what Christ said to do. So you just do what Christ said to do. It's as simple as that. But I thank you guys. I really appreciate each and every one of you. And thank you for all your support that's coming. I know we're going to be able to raise this money and get it ready. I know whilst I'm in prison, you're going to be praying for me. So as soon as I get the confirmation of when I'm going to prison, I'm going to do another broadcast to tell you when I'm going to prison. Yeah, I'm going to do that. So I really thank you. I appreciate you. And I want to say, pay the price. Prison is a price that I need to pay. What is your price for truth? What is your price? You can't be running away from not paying the price. You have to. You must pay the price. Paul did. Jesus did. It's part of who you are. It's part of godliness. That's who you are. Remember this scripture, what it says in this scripture in 2 Timothy 3:11 and 12. Indeed, all who desire to live a godly life in Jesus Christ will be persecuted. Do you desire to live a godly life in Christ? And expect persecution. There's no two ways about it. We are fighters. We are soldiers. Nothing can stop us. That's how Christianity changed the world. That's how Christianity brought about change, fearlessness. We're not cowards. Let's keep fighting. Let's keep pushing. Not because we are smart, not because we are strong, but because Christ is before us, Christ is behind us. Thank you so much. God bless you. And have a wonderful, wonderful day.